is what they call a microphone, I think. Hello, hello. How are we doing, Cleveland?
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's give a big shout out to Galacticon for throwing us this party this weekend. All right.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, that's for these pennies.
Nice.
This is fun. This is the first time I've gotten to host the Yugi over here.
Yeah.
We've all been here for quite a few years and stuff, so it's an honor to be able to host this with you guys.
Oh, that is good.
It's always an honor to be here.
How's it going? How's it feeling?
Amazing, and love the architecture. Everyone's been so kind to the table, so generous. Yeah.
I hear Cleveland rocks. So I was told.
Yeah. I know. It's very old city, but it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I watch you guys for about 2 years now.
Oh, is that?
And I'm just talking.
Oh, that, you're the one. You're the one.
I'm from City, and but I just want to give a shout out and honor you guys because you guys are so awesome with your fans. You keep it real and you're so honest. You guys are just awesome. So do hear it for them.
That's exactly the illusion I'm trying to create. Thank you for pointing that out.
Absolutely. These guys are awesome. They always have such awesome things to say. And they're just so nice and genuine and plenty of you and stuff. Yeah, you guys are great. And so you guys kind of paved the way for like the English dubbing industry, honestly, especially with the poor kids, you know. They were coming in and really brought stuff over to the US.
I think Eric can speak to that more than I joined the party after Eric did, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I joke around. How many people have ever seen a show called Slayers?
Oh, yes.
So I played Gower and Slayers. So back in the day when we first started doing a lot of the dubbing stuff in New York, how many people remember what a blockbuster is? Right?
Blockbuster video, man.
Yeah, so anime was like on the back shelf in Blockbuster. You know, you would have to really search to find it when I started working in anime. And so, you know,
That was back in the 1800s.
that's right. I did the original campaign for the Wheel and Fire as well. But it was, you know, I loved cartoons growing up, and I was a big fan of shows like Battle of the Planets, you know, and things like that. So I was like, oh, this is great. I'll definitely be involved in this. And as the time went on, and people started to really become more fans of that stuff, and places like this, and events like this, where we could all get together and celebrate the stuff that we all love, our fandom. I then got hired to direct at 4Kids. So I also directed a lot of the shows that you guys know us from. And that's of course where I got to meet my good friend Dan. Most of what we do is alone in the booth with either an engineer or a director. So unless we're doing a show where we're actually doing a prelay show where we record first and animate later, we might have a cast recording. But most of what at least we've done in our lives has been alone. So because I was directing so much, I got to work with these other actors and develop these friendships and things like that over the years. So yeah, I mean, if you want to say we helped pave the way, I'm both responsible and not responsible for all of this.
Adventure of the Wheel and
That's right.
That's how did you make me do this? I guess technically.
I know.
So you were using my brother would chase me around in my competitive classes. It wasn't that, it was doing this. Well, speaking of your characters, I'm curious, do you guys have a favorite running gag for your characters?
Well, very often when we're signing stuff at the table, Kaiba will set me up with play your last pathetic card. To which I respond, my grandpa said, hasn't played a card as Kaiba. That's sort of a running gag. Also, a lot of people who see me after they see Eric tell me that I'm not actually the king of games and that I cheat. So.
Yeah, I mean that's a running gag with us. We like to stay in character a little bit.
A little bit.
You know, someone will ask me, they'll say, hey, you know, I duel, you want to duel me? And this is the deck I use, and it can beat a Blue Eyes deck, blah, blah, blah. And I say, oh, well, you know, I don't duel, but I can still beat you. Right? Which is true and very Kaiba. So we try to keep all of our, you know, that part of that personality alive when we make these appearances. Because how much fun would it really be if you knew that this is one of my best friends in the whole world? Right? You'd be like, oh.
Not interesting. Boring.
True romance. They're enemies, they're romances, they're lovers.
We love being right.
Yeah. That's so speaking of personalities that your characters bring out, we have a couple of some of us one-liners.
Oh.
So why don't we take a look?
right.
I see you can count. Unfortunately, numbers aren't everything.
My Millennium Puzzle protects me from your cowardly assault. But nothing will protect you from... Oblivion!
Shall I have security remove Siegfried from the park? That won't be necessary. I want him to see what he missed out on, so give him a good seat for the next duel. Oh, funny.
Ready or not, Spirit, this is where you take over.
Hey! Yugi! I'm not... You can't... This isn't a duel! Hello.
What's ruined us, Leon? He says I'm weak. I never beat Kaiba.
That's the first sensible thing he said all week.
Wow. You know, that was fun to watch. I just noticed two moments that I think were ad-libs.
Oh, yeah.
Because normally people are like, oh, you guys, did you ever like ad-lib lines? And Dan has a great story about one of his. But the majority of the time we had, hits to straight writers that we will take credit for the delivery, but we had a great script to work with. All the sarcastic stuff that Kaiba said, yeah, that was on the page. But that little thing at the end of the laugh, I don't know if you caught what I said. I said, I'm funny. I'm so funny. That was not in the script. That was me. I added that in there.
And yet, you made it work.
It helps when you're the director of the show and going, that stays.
That makes sense.
But that line, that Yugi line that you did there,
With the hello?
yeah,
That wasn't in the script?
that seemed like the way that you did that was
Well, a skill doctor makes every line feel
that
like
seemed
you're
like a very Dan Green
sense of humor.
Yes. Anyway, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yugi though, it's very well known as one of the best dogs out there, honestly. So,
Oh, thanks.
I won't argue with that.
wow.
Why would I?
So I've got two more questions for them, but if you guys have questions, feel free to line up
Yeah, line up.
Well, yeah, at the microphone.
And I just have two more questions for you guys. So one for Eric. If you could have any one of Kaiba's crazy rich boy items in real life, what would it be?
An elevator to space.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because, I got time on the way up there.
Sure. You get to read a nice audiobook or two.
Exactly, yeah. I think an elevator to space. Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, I just saw a video about how they can actually do that. It's very difficult, but I like it. Dan,
Yeah.
if you could have any one of your characters' hair, which would you want? Yugi, Knuckles, Sky, and Tay.
Oh my God, it's so hard to choose. I mean, Yugi has really cool hair, but if
Look at it right there.
Yeah. But if you see the back of it, it's like a mace from medieval times. So fashionable and a personal defense. So maybe that's it. Yeah.
All right, I'll take that. Okay, come on up. That was my last question. Thank you, Pi.
Let's hear it for the staff here at Collecticon. He works hard, yeah.
You have the best pins I've had.
He does, I saw those.
Good.
I'd like to know, do either of you have a favorite card that's the most fun to say when you're in the booth?
Oh, well, yeah, Exodia Obliterate's pretty awesome.
I mean, anytime I get to say Blue Eyes White Dragon, that works for me too. There's a couple of cards I can't pronounce, so I try to stay away from those. Yeah.
Right.
That's valid.
Ophiuchus. Did I just swear?
So my question is, during the Awakening of the Dragons season, Yugi had some issues. Well, Pharaoh did. And Kaiba did not like it. How did you guys, what's the mindset with the Pharaoh losing and Kaiba finding out that the Pharaoh lost?
So you want to know as the actor how we... So you'll hear a different answer from every actor how they approach things. I personally like to break it down to the nuts and bolts of the basic emotions of what's going on related to what I know. I played a lot of sports in school, so like when we duel, I think about the competition part of it. I have very dear friends, so when there's situations where they're suffering or things like that, like I think of my real relationships like that, without getting bogged down in how the game is played, which card is more powerful. I really try to simplify it so that I can be more authentic to what Eric would feel in this. And you know, the relationship between Kaiba and Yugi, I look at as this rival, right? It's not a villain. They team up when there's a real enemy and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think when you have the Pharaoh not being at the top of his game, that's not what Kaiba really wants to see. My job as his rival is to push him enough to keep him at the top of his game. So I'm sure that the way I approached that particular performance was, sure, you'd think I'd want to gloat about it, but in reality, I was disappointed to see it happen, right? That's how I would say it. Yeah.
Not the victory you really wanted. Yeah. I think it's so important for the protagonist to have weaknesses, to have moments where they fail. Otherwise, it's unrelatable and also predictable. So anytime that there's opportunity to add dimensions to your character as an actor, you're looking forward to that. So, and if you're a writer, they'll very often say, you want to put your protagonist in the worst position possible, right? So that you can see them come back from it, right? That's encouraging.
Good question, though. Really smart question. Thanks for that.
All right. And just for the sake of time, guys, I'm going to put the line off my friend in the orange hat back there. I see you with the glasses on. You're good.
Chris, I believe, yes.
So, speaking about Millennium World, like how far from the beginning of the series did you guys know what was going to happen? And then also speaking of one-liners, so we're cousins line, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I didn't write that one. Well, since I directed Yu-Gi-Oh! The first two, I was a senior voice director there, so I would start a lot of shows and then move on, turn it over to the assistant director and then move on to another show. So I got to, I think it was the first 2 seasons I got to direct Yu-Gi-Oh! When you buy the series, you might buy like 26 episodes or maybe even more if you think, oh, we're going to do 2 seasons of it. But we rarely saw, even as the director, I rarely saw the next episode as both director, of course actor, until it was ready to be dubbed. So there's a lot of finding the direction in the beginning of every one of these series we ever work on, because we're not really told, unless we've done our own research, unless we read the manga and stuff like that.
Even the manga,
So, we were finding the voice for these characters in the beginning because it was so new. Then once you've done, like when I was working on Pokemon and stuff like that, once we're in like season 5, 6, or whatever, or even with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff, both Dan and I can ad-lib an entire 20-minute episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now because we know the characters so well. Not the gameplay, but all of the other dialogue. So there's that. Good question. Thank you for that.
Now another panel with that.
Hey, nice shirt.
A little closer to the microphone, right? There you go.
Is Doki your favorite evolution?
Yes, because I voiced Jojo. So of course, is it your favorite? Thank you. You're my best friend now.
It's my favorite too, twinsies.
Nice hat, way to represent.
Thank you. I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in a very unique position where the game has grown in complexity with most of its fan base from when they were kids to now. But now that most of the fans remember Blockbuster, like, what's your vision for it going forward? Where do you see it going?
Where do we see Yu-Gi-Oh! Going forward?
Yeah.
That's a great question, actually. One of the better ideas I think I had in the last several years was to suggest to Eric that we should voice the manga.
Go back.
With the original voice cast and do it as truthfully to the manga as possible so names wouldn't be changed from the original Japanese. And as a tribute to Takahashi, who obviously still had many years ahead of him. Yes. That's
something we would love to do.
And that's the only contribution I could make. Like, in terms of, what you might do with our characters, I mean, it'd be cool to see what Yugi does as an adult. And, as the king of games. I had this idea that you can kind of use game theory to solve a lot of problems. But what would Yugi do with that?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. Thank you. Yep, sure.
That's awesome.
Come on down.
Yeah, you like that idea?
Yeah, I love that. Like an audiobook.
Why not?
Hi.
Hey.
Okay, so my question is...
Why did you steal my hair?
It was too good. It was too good. I would have done Yugi's, but it was too hard.
That's a lot of complexity.
Yeah. Is there a story behind the most tasteful edit in all of intro history when Yugi does the duel?
Most people assume that's an edit. I actually studied.
Really?
No, it's a lie. It's a lie.
You got me.
It was so cool. And you know, of course, that was a thing they like to do in music. You know, it's maybe particular to a time, but I think it's sort of stuck around, and it still sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes people want me to sign with multiple G's. It's time to do it.
Yeah, like that part is like so tasteful in my opinion because it's like only happens one time and it's in every intro. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the show.
Right.
Only in that one show, and it was just like I thought it was so good. And thank you guys for making this some of the best all time.
Oh,
Like
that's very kind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That'd be funny if you had to do that every time you said duel.
I've been asked. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello. I had questions about the movies.
Yeah.
So, with the Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie one, did you guys have to really change anything with that? And then when the main character guys came for the, I can't remember which three it is. Like it's Yugi, guy
Bonds
with
Beyond Time?
Yeah, that one. How did it feel to do that one versus like extending the bonds with like Kaiba and the Yugi the movie one?
I'm game for any story those characters are in. And part of what you do as an actor is to try to make whatever you're doing work. So you embrace it for as much as you can and get that character to live through those moments. So Bonds Beyond Time was fine because of the reasons of being able to mix it up with the other leads. But also the relationship between Yami and Kaiba is one I would always want to see another dimension in.
Yeah.
Even a dark side of it.
Yeah, and Dark Side to me is my favorite because I felt it was much more cinematic. You know, a lot of the stuff that we had to do for the American television Saturday morning stuff is louder, more energy, like a lot of filming, a lot of dialogue. And I just liked that there was air and in Dark Side, and that, you know, yeah, it's all about Kaiba, so that's fun, but it was more, I felt like I was really performing in a movie. You know, so that to me is my favorite performance as Kaiba, I think.
I love going to the movie theater and getting a card with your ticket.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can thank Kaiba Corp for that. You got it.
Can we get a spin-off called All About Kaiba?
What's going on?
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. My question is, Yu-Gi-Oh! Draws from a lot of different themes like ancient mythology, Egyptian, Gnostic themes, and stuff like that. I was just wondering, for you guys personally, was there anything in particular that stuck with you guys as far as the symbolism or any characters?
Yeah, I was actually into Egyptology before I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was raised Christian, and there's a lot about pharaohs in that, if you're familiar with the Old Testament. And and I also was a big fan of Raiders of the Lost Ark, which wasn't about Egyptology, but it took place in Egypt, or a lot of it did. Anyway, but I find those myths fascinating. Also, I got into Joseph Campbell, who you might be familiar with his work, where he looks at mythology from across different cultures and time and finds unifying themes in them. And so I've always been interested in that. And Star Wars, anybody here heard of Star Wars? Yeah. So that was taken from the way that Joseph Campbell broke down what they call the hero's journey. George Lucas was a student of that, right? So yeah, and even the term the Force is a simplification of life force, which was what Lucas found to be the most common theme of any concept of religion, right? So we're all drawing on this stuff, and I'm a big fan of superheroes. We've seen a lot of superhero movies. That's just a mythic scale, right? It's not that far away from Apollo and Festus and all of these ancient Greek gods. More powerful than a normal person, but still with a human personality that you can relate to and find some truth in. I think that's why they remain compelling.
And I just like the fact that I got to play like a psychotic Bruce Wayne.
Absolutely. I definitely wanted to ask you the question because I seen you Dan wearing all of the different symbols.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm interested in all of the same things. The psychology behind different mythology and everything. So I just wondered what you guys perspective.
Yeah. Great question though. Thank you. That's great. Hey.
Hello.
So kind of piggyback.
A little closer to the mic.
Piggyback on like Dark Side, you mentioned. In filming that, knowing it's.
So you don't have to make money at it. You don't have to be recognized for it. it makes you feel better because it's meaningful to you.
Exactly. No, you're good. I agree. I mean, this is my creativity. Getting to do this.
There you go.
This thing. I mean, yeah, you just got to keep working at it, guys. Like practice, talk to people. Networking is the best weapon you can have in this world. Talk to each other. That's such a good line.
You can learn from anybody who does it better than you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, well, can I wrap it up?
Yes, please, wrap
So I
it
just
up.
wanted to throw a few things out there. How many people is this their first convention? Anybody? All right, okay. So everybody else who's done this before, right? Raise your hands, right? Yeah, okay, great. So the people who have been doing this, before, and the people who are just starting this today, I think you've all observed that at conventions, there's a sense of goodwill. People just embracing what it is that they like, what they love, right? And there's a sense of respect, right? Nobody's ashamed, right? You gotta hold on to that. That's really precious. That's really special. I was discussing this with somebody and said, yeah, it's like an escape. And I said, well, you know what? Sure, I know what you mean, but it's not like it's not the truth. We can be that way, right? I've been so privileged to get to know you guys over the last couple of years when I've been making more appearances. And getting to be a part of this community is one of the biggest privileges of my life. And I've been hearing from some people in the community lately that some of you are a little afraid. Some of you are a little scared about the world out there. Some of you may be feeling a little less welcome, maybe a little less safe, maybe a little targeted. And I gotta say to you, I get it. I don't think that's irrational at all. I think that's a rational response to a lot of unfortunate things that are happening. And I don't have the answer, right? But I will offer you this. Courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the power we have to stand up to the fear. Right? Being fearless means you don't care, but you care. Yeah, you care about this stuff, you care about what you love, and you shouldn't back down from it. And if you can be your authentic self, you have won the most important game of life. To allow yourself to be who you really are, there's nothing better. You may achieve other things, but nothing will feel as good as being that. Because when you are that, you win you. So, as far as I'm concerned, you're all champions for understanding what that is. Especially the cosplayers. Having the guts to get over there you go. Literal dressed up, right? Halloween every day, I love it. But that takes courage. But you're not ashamed of that. You fly it like a flag, right? So keep that up. And as a character I once portrayed said, when you're dealing with feeling overwhelmed, stand up. A champion doesn't belong on his knees. Okay? All right. Thank you for that. Stay strong. And I promise you, I know it's scary to stand up. I know. But if you stand up, you're going to need somebody else to stand up. And if you all stand up, we're going to be right there with you. Thank you.
All right, got one last question for you guys. What time is it?
It's time to duel!
What time is it? It's time to duel! What time is it? It's time to duel!
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you guys